Hi, friends. Welcome back to Walking Through Romans. We're in episode 9, which I've titled, Why is the Wrath of God Being Revealed? My goal, as I believe was Paul's when he wrote it, is for you and me to truly appreciate the gospel every day. To that end, we need a clear understanding of these truths Paul is sharing. Last time, we saw that we need God's righteousness because our own righteousness earns only God's wrath. And that wrath is being revealed today. We know that God has an answer for us, and that's what the gospel is all about. Paul is taking us deeper now in this chapter to answer the questions, why is that wrath being revealed? And how is it being revealed? Today, we begin to look at the why. First, we must understand that the truth about God, his eternal power and divine nature, has been known by all men in all times. Paul says so in Romans 1:19 and 20. They know the truth about God because he has made it obvious to them. For ever since the world was created, people have seen the earth and sky. Through everything God made, they can clearly see his invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature. So they have no excuse for not knowing God. Paul declares that all of us can clearly see the invisible. We can see the all-powerful and divine nature of God. How? Through observing the wonder of what he has created, from the wonder of the cosmos to the symmetry of the nautilus shell to the molecular structure of carbon. The wonder of a child, the exaltation of the musician, the glorying of the scientist, all reactions to the revelation of the glory of God through his creation. We have all become so used to wonders around us that we don't even notice them anymore. It takes something quite spectacular to catch our notice. Have you ever experienced something in nature that has simply stopped you in your tracks in wonder? For me, it's the Grand Canyon. I had the privilege to hike to the bottom of the canyon back in 2008 and back up over 5 days. Hour by hour, I found myself struck with wonder. It was spectacular, awesome, overwhelming. What is it for you? A violent thunderstorm? The waves of the ocean? The Rocky Mountains? Another one for me was the birth of each of our sons. I'll never forget the entrance of each one into this world and the moment I was able to touch each one. Looking into their eyes, seeing beyond the moment, down the long years, unknown and not yet, but fully there. Possibility, wonder of wonders. In moments like these, friends, if we had eyes that were still sensitive rather than being calloused, in many ordinary moments of the day, we see the very glory of God. Paul tells us that if we would be honest with ourselves, we would admit that we have clearly seen God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature. Paul continues in verses 21 to 23. He says, yes, they knew God. Yes, you knew God. Yes, you know God. But they wouldn't worship him as God or even give him thanks. And they began to think up foolish ideas of what God was like. As a result, their minds became dark and confused. Claiming to be wise, they instead became utter fools. And instead of worshiping the glorious, ever-living God, they worshiped idols made to look like mere people and birds and animals and reptiles. So, all of us know God, have clearly been introduced to him, and know his divine power. But we refuse to worship him as God. Instead, we create anything and everything to take his place in our lives. In fact, we become our own gods, serving only ourselves. God has not created us for this, and we will only be terribly disappointed. We, as our own gods, will become tyrants and destroy ourselves. This is a sure way to earn the wrath of God. His desire for us is life and peace, not self-destruction. So, this, at least in part, is why his wrath is being revealed. We clearly know him and his divine nature, but refuse to worship him and instead set ourselves up to be God. Next time, we'll consider how this wrath is being revealed. But again, dear ones, if you recognize in this moment that God is speaking to you, putting his finger on your sin, showing you that you've pushed him off his throne and you have taken up residence there, if that's you and you know you deserve the wrath of God right now, if you know that and you want to be free of that wrath, your freedom to worship him in humility and truth is only a moment away. Later in Romans, Paul says in Romans 10:9, if you openly declare that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Simply accept what Jesus has done for you. He died on that cross to pay the price for your sin and mine, and rose from the dead, proving that the payment was enough, in fact, more than enough. Hallelujah. God bless you, friends. We'll see you next time.